About 5 months ago, my wife Hannah, who is 37, landed a job at a new tech firm. Almost immediately, she got very close to her new coworkers. I am 36, and I found myself uncomfortable with this new social circle. They were deeply involved in activism, always portraying themselves as oppressed and engaging in intense discussions about social issues. It seemed like anything I said or did could be twisted into an offense, making it impossible for me to feel at ease. Initially, I thought it was just a phase, but over the last 2 months, Hannah's behavior became more and more troubling. We've been married for 11 years and have 2 kids, a 10-year-old daughter named Rachel and an 8-year-old son named Ethan. Her accusations started getting bizarre, like claiming I was a patriarchal oppressor just because I am a man. It was nonsensical. I tried to remain calm, but our arguments always ended with me saying, "I haven't wronged you, my only fault is loving you." This would usually end the argument, but the next day she'd find new reasons to berate me. About 5 weeks ago, I realized something was very wrong. Hannah started coming home late with no explanation and became unreachable by phone. She was cold and distant, even when she wasn't drinking. When I voiced my concerns, she dismissed them, accusing me of being controlling and paranoid. This pattern repeated itself multiple times. I checked her phone but found nothing incriminating, suspecting she deleted many messages. However, I stumbled upon a conversation with one of her new friends about the idea of an open relationship, confirming my worst fears. Hannah wanted to discuss this on the second Monday of December. With the kids at their grandparents' for the holidays, she casually brought it up over breakfast, asking about my views on an open relationship. Luckily, I had prepared myself. I had been reading various online forums and realized our marriage was beyond saving. My focus shifted to protecting myself and our children. I kept my voice steady and asked pointed questions. Her confidence crumbled when she saw how serious I was. "Who is the other man?" I asked bluntly. "What are you talking about?" She tried to deflect. "Dante, play dumb. If we're going to have an honest conversation, let us do it. If you can't be truthful, there's no point," I insisted. "I don't know what you mean," she repeated, trying to dodge the question. "If you lie, we can discuss our relationship." "I know you're hiding something, so who's the guy you're seeing?" I demanded. "I'm not seeing anyone," she lied. "Stop lying, you've broken my trust. Be honest or we're getting a divorce. No arguments, just divorce. Do you understand?" I said firmly. "I understand," she finally admitted. She confessed to 2 one-night stands with married men and revealed plans to sleep with a coworker. She believed this was best for her and that I had no right to control her. I got the coworker's name and his wife's name. She claimed their relationship was open and even suggested setting me up with her friends, one of whom was eager. I declined and asked for her phone, which she reluctantly handed over. While she was in the bathroom, I locked myself in my office, causing her to panic. I used recovery software to retrieve deleted messages and installed a spy app. When I emerged, I handed her the phone and told her to leave. She argued, but I responded with single-word answers. She showed no remorse, accusing me of being controlling and perpetuating oppression, and claiming I didn't truly love her. Her friends supported her, saying I wouldn't follow through with any threats. One even boasted about manipulating her ex-husband with similar accusations. I ordered cameras for the house, knowing I needed to document everything. I couldn't believe what was happening. I had never threatened her in any way. After that, she messaged her affair partner to meet up, and they arranged to meet at a hotel, which shocked me. I went online to find the affair partner's wife, and it didn't take long. I reached out to her on social media and shared all the details, including the hotel meetup. She thanked me and hung up. A few hours later, I received a video from her. She had confronted them at the hotel, shouting that this wasn't the first time her husband had cheated and expressing her rage. She recorded Hannah getting dressed on the bed, which made me feel nauseous. The affair partner's wife even slapped and cursed at Hannah. I messaged Hannah, telling her I had seen the video and never wanted her near me again. She seemed to think this was some kind of competition where she was winning. It was hard to understand. It was as if she had disconnected from reality and didn't realize we were getting a divorce. I joined Hannah's family group chat and informed them about our divorce due to her infidelity. I thanked them for welcoming me into the family and then left the group. I have received calls and messages from her, but I haven't read or responded to them. I just don't have the energy for it. I talked to my parents and shared everything with them. My father messaged Hannah telling her she wouldn't be welcome for Christmas. I'm now staying at my parents' place and have spoken to my boss, who granted me time off until mid-January to sort things out. I've been monitoring Hannah S. conversations with her new friends. Hannah S. frantic attempts to contact me have been overwhelming. I don't think she has fully grasped that she has lost her family and that her new companions, including her affair partner, Don T., genuinely care about her well-being. She has sent countless messages and even showed up at my parents' doorstep, demanding to join our Christmas celebration. My father had to threaten her with a call to the police to make her leave. Now I am on the lookout for a divorce lawyer, and I broke down in tears as soon as I reached my parents' house. Everything feels so confusing. Reading through their chats and dealing with her brings me immense heartache. I've only replied to her messages twice. It doesn't matter what you say. I don't recognize you anymore. You are not the person I married. My wife would never smile while shattering my heart and soul. We are getting a divorce, and I don't care about your words or demands. You have no influence or right to ask anything of me. We are done. Whoever you are now seems to take pride in your actions. After that last message, her text ceased entirely. The pain can be unbearable at times, and I find myself longing for a reality where none of this happened. I yearn for the days before everything crumbled, but I know I can turn back time. This Christmas is the hardest I've ever faced. I had to explain to the kids that their mom chose to leave us for other men. We are divorcing, and understandably, they are heartbroken. Thankfully, my parents are here to comfort them while I try to regain my strength. I know I need to be strong for my kids, but I can never go back to Hannah. I regret not waiting until after Christmas to break the news and arrange counseling for them. I blurted it out when they asked when their mom would be back. I'll never forgive myself for that moment. Returning to her is impossible. The level of betrayal and cruelty she has shown is unforgivable. I feel completely lost and can understand why she expects anything from me now. Is she mentally stable? I apologize for venting, but I need to express this. What truly shattered me was when Hannah said our marriage and kids were burdens to her. She claimed we held her back from success, blaming me for oppressing her and ruining her life. She even said our family was why she didn't achieve a successful career and missed out on other experiences. It was too much to bear. For the next day and a half, I obsessively read and reread all our messages and emails. Reflecting on them, I realized she never provided concrete examples of how we were burdens or oppressors. It was all vague accusations with no real evidence. In reality, I never hindered her ambitions. I financially supported almost everything since her part-time job barely contributed. I supported her hobbies, dreams, and aspirations even when she started and abandoned various classes. I ensured she felt loved and appreciated every day. If this is what she considers oppression, then I don't understand what support looks like. Eventually, I passed out from sheer exhaustion. When I woke up, my 3 closest friends were in the kitchen with my dad making dinner. These guys have been with me since childhood. Let us call them Adam, Jason, and Luke. My dad had filled them in on the situation. I broke down again and remained in a daze until Friday evening. Adam, a former Marine who lost his left arm below the elbow, was someone we supported during his recovery when his wife left him. Thankfully, they had no children, and Adam later adopted 2 kids and met a wonderful partner. He arranged a video call with his counselor, who had helped him during his recovery. Even though the counselor specialized in assisting amputees, his insights into my emotional state were invaluable. He explained that a significant part of my identity and spirit was tied to my role as a husband, and now that part was gone. Just as an amputee experiences phantom pain in a missing limb, I would feel phantom pain from the loss of that part of my identity. Our extensive talks have been gradually helping me heal. Jason is an executive at a security firm, though he's quite secretive about his work. I don't know the specifics, but he is financially well off. Jason contacted a high-end law firm affiliated with his company, and on Sunday morning I had a consultation with a lawyer I could never have afforded on my own. Jason, who had been bullied relentlessly in his youth, assured me not to worry about the legal fees. He would cover them. He was happy to finally repay me for standing up for him when we were kids. Luke is a teacher at a private school and has 7 children. Yes, 7. My kids adore him and his family. Luke has been making sure my children are well cared for while I try to put my life back together. Yesterday was a whirlwind. It started with an early morning appointment for an STD screening. Learning that I contracted an STI from Hannah was the breaking point. I'll need another test in 6 months to ensure it is gone. My initial self-pity transformed into pure fury. I am now resolved to fight for full custody and aim to leave her with as little as possible. My lawyer found the ex-husband of Hannah's radical friend who had boasted about deceiving him. We contacted him through court documents, and he shared his horror story with us. Now I have a clearer idea of what to expect from Hannah. Hearing his ordeal was sickening, but it prepared me for the fight ahead. He had been homeless and hadn't seen his children for 4 years because of his ex-wife's lies. I know I am at a disadvantage as a man in the court system, so I am gathering a mountain of evidence. My lawyer suggested filing a restraining order due to Hannah's aggressive and negative comments about men. For the sake of our son, who shouldn't grow up in a hostile environment, I am pursuing full custody. My lawyer is moving forward with the restraining order, which should be served today. I had a bizarre Zoom call with Hannah. She hadn't contacted anyone since the argument at my dad's house, showing her lack of concern for us. She dressed provocatively, trying to look her best, which I hadn't seen her do in years. Throughout the call, she tried to provoke me, but I remained calm. My lawyer advised me to keep things amicable if possible, which would be favorable in court. I recorded the call and referred to her as my soon-to-be ex-wife. She started the conversation with a strange comment about different types of male anatomy and how they change when erect. I was stunned by the inappropriate start. She then eagerly talked about how she couldn't wait for restrictions to lift so she could explore more in person. I told her bluntly that I wasn't interested in her hobbies and wanted to focus on the divorce. When I didn't react as she hoped, her hostility surfaced. At one point, she muted herself, claiming she needed the bathroom, and I saw her talking to her friends about how to deal with me, cursing me just for being a man. The entire call felt like a twisted game where she believed she held all the power. We made no progress on the divorce, confirming we were headed for a contested one. By the way, I contracted chlamydia from you, and unlike you, I haven't been with anyone else. You should get tested, I said. She looked at me in shock. At this point, I no longer cared about her mindset. I shared the recording with my lawyer, who was appalled by her behavior. Everyone I spoke to found her actions irrational. Since the phone account is under my name, I can use the chat logs in court. After our call, her friends frantically discussed it, but I stopped caring about their opinions. My lawyer is confident we'll win unless there's something I've missed. So here we are. The pain still lingers, but I now view it as phantom pain. I have stopped feeling sorry for myself and am taking proactive steps. I need to protect myself and my children. I am confident my kids will be fine, and I'll ensure they receive the therapy they need. My soon-to-be ex-wife will soon be a distant memory, and I'll begin building a new, better life. Today I found out she knew about the chlamydia infection and got treated without informing me. It's infuriating. First, I want to thank everyone for their support. Some see me as strong or think I am winning, but my anger often masks my vulnerability. I wish this nightmare had never happened. I long for my family to be intact, living a simple, happy life with my wife, but no one wins in this scenario. As the kids grow up and move on, my wife's actions have forced this situation and there's no going back. I can never trust her again, and I cry myself to sleep every night because my children will grow up in a broken home. It is heartbreaking that they no longer have a functional relationship with their mother. How do you answer a childish question like, "Why doesn't mommy want to see me anymore? Doesn't she love me?" If anyone has an answer, I'd love to know because I am at a loss. Each day is a battle, but I am determined to move forward. Every morning I wake up thinking my heart can't possibly break anymore, only to be proven wrong. Hannah still hasn't realized, or perhaps she just doesn't care, that I can monitor her conversations. She's convinced that I'll never leave her and that my reaction is unjustified. She continues to badmouth me, our marriage, and our children to her friends. I can comprehend why she despises us so much when we've done nothing to deserve it. My lawyer managed to get a temporary restraining order against her, but during the hearing yesterday morning, it wasn't extended due to a lack of new threats. My lawyer suggested leveraging the fact that she knowingly infected me with chlamydia to push for an uncontested divorce. I wish we could part ways peacefully. I hate seeing her as an adversary, but if she wanted to leave, I could have accepted it. Why is she forcing me into this hostile process? What does she gain from inflicting so much pain on those who once loved her? If anyone has insight, I'd appreciate it because I don't understand her motivations. If we go to court, I might have to give her a lump sum for our house's equity, but I probably want to have to pay alimony since she has shown no interest in the kids. I'm hopeful about winning custody if it comes to that. My lawyer recommended attempting an amicable divorce, and I agreed. We scheduled a meeting with Hannah and her representative soon. Interestingly, the ex-husband of Hannah's radical friend spent New Year's Eve with me and the kids. The way fathers are treated in the legal system is disheartening. I no longer have any illusions about fairness if we go to court. His ex lied extensively, and the court accepted her lies without evidence. He hasn't seen his children in years and is forced to pay crippling alimony and child support. He even contemplated suicide. With the new evidence I provided, he now has hope again. We discussed the situation with my lawyer, and she advised him to hold on to the evidence until after my meeting with Hannah and her counsel. If he uses it now, it will reveal that we have access to their communications. Our goal is to finalize the divorce quickly and smoothly. I desperately need to distance myself from Hannah. If she fights, it could drag on and cause even more stress. I need to break free. The strangeness continued with our meeting yesterday afternoon. Hannah arrived 30 minutes late and, to my surprise, didn't bring a lawyer. She claimed she didn't have or need one, and instead brought along one of her new friends. My lawyer had given me strict instructions to remain calm and non-confrontational. If they addressed me, I was to respond positively if possible. When my lawyer placed her hands flat on the table, it was my signal to stay silent. Despite arriving late and without masks, Hannah and her friends started by hurling insults and trying to provoke me. My lawyer attempted to steer the conversation towards the divorce, but they kept making jokes and laughing at my expense. It was humiliating and surreal. Hannah seemed to think this was all a game, convinced that I couldn't actually divorce her. In her mind, only she could initiate a divorce, and she assumed she'd get everything she wanted. I was baffled by her arrogance. I kept my responses vague, saying things like, "Yes, you're probably right," or "I really don't know." Eventually, they tired, and my lawyer presented the proposed settlement for an amicable divorce. She mentioned my willingness to be generous for a quick and peaceful resolution, including a substantial lump sum for equity in the house and investments. Hannah was visibly excited, and her friend egged her on. They were eager to sign immediately. My lawyer suggested they review the rest of the agreement, but Hannah insisted on signing right away, even discussing when she'd get the money and their plans for it. My lawyer called in a notary who asked for our identification documents. We signed 2 copies, and the notary stamped them. My lawyer, almost bursting with excitement, thanked Hannah and her friend and informed them that we were done. They left, forgetting Hannah's copy of the agreement on the table. My lawyer signaled me to stay quiet until they were out of the building. Once they left the parking lot, my lawyer congratulated me, saying this was the most unusual session she'd ever experienced for a negotiated divorce. She explained that Hannah's copy of the agreement would be sent to her after our hearing with the judge, or if she hired a lawyer who requested it. Until then, it would remain safely in my lawyer's drawer. On the surface, It seemed like my divorce would be simpler than expected. However, Hannah could still hire legal representation and contest it. My lawyer assured me she would expedite a hearing with a judge, likely via video conference. After some advice from Reddit, I decided to hire a private investigator. The results were damning photos of Hannah passionately kissing different men at various clubs and then heading to a hotel with one of them. This evidence was the nail in the coffin. Hannah agreed to give me full custody for a one-time payment and no spousal support. Now I just need to sort out the finances, and Noah has generously offered to cover the amount if necessary. My lawyer's advice was clear: stay low, maintain payments, and avoid any unnecessary confrontations. I was instructed to avoid all mutual contacts and be patient until the hearing. The hearing was yesterday, and now I am on the brink of finalizing the divorce. It will take 4 to 6 months for the paperwork to be officially processed, but the outcome is unlikely to change unless both Hannah and I decide to halt the proceedings. I am utterly exhausted and haven't slept for days. Please forgive me if I seem scattered. I need to get this off my chest. Maybe I can finally get some rest after sharing this. My lawyer managed to secure an early hearing just 12 days after filing the paperwork, which likely involved pulling some strings. But let me focus on the chaos of the past weekend. On Friday morning, police officers arrived at my doorstep with a search warrant for my house. I was stunned and deeply concerned for the kids, so I asked if I could take them outside while the search was conducted, and they agreed. The officers provided few details, but I managed to get a copy of the warrant. Confusion and fear set in. It turns out the suspicions about Hannah's erratic behavior being influenced by medication were somewhat accurate. The police tore through my house. I contacted my lawyer and she spoke with them, but since the warrant was legitimate, there was little we could do. It didn't occur to me at the time, but now I have surveillance cameras installed throughout the house to protect against false accusations. I have video and audio recordings of everything. If I choose to, I might file a claim later, but for now, I might just move on. What I didn't know then was that Hannah and 3 of her friends had taken my car while drunk and crashed it into a house. They were all arrested, found to be heavily intoxicated, and had various substances on and in their bodies. The crash left them injured, with one passenger in critical condition, and doubts about her survival linger. The lead friend, Olivia, is the one who boasted about deceiving her ex-husband, Liam. Liam and I have become close friends, but more on that later. Thankfully, the police didn't find anything incriminating during their search. I provided a statement clarifying that Hannah no longer lived at my house and resided with her parents, and I did not give Olivia permission to use my car. Returning home, I was devastated. The house was a wreck, completely torn apart. It was the final straw. I called my dad, who promptly took me and the kids to stay with my mom. My dad rallied 26 friends and family members to clean and repair my entire house, while I sat on the back porch, emotionally drained, eating my mom's comforting food. They restored everything from every room to clothes, dishes, and furniture, even fixing minor issues like loose door handles. The house is now immaculate. Their kindness was overwhelming, and I don't know how I'll ever repay them. Over the weekend, my mood shifted dramatically from despair to relief, thanks to the incredible support I received. The police found more substances at Olivia's house, where her boyfriend was absent, leaving the children unsupervised. Child Protective Services (CPS) intervened, and Liam secured temporary emergency custody. On Saturday, he provided the judge with chat logs and evidence of neglect and substance abuse, making it straightforward for him to gain custody. Liam was ecstatic. He had barely seen his children over the past 5 years and had been working tirelessly to save for a legal battle against Olivia. This unexpected turn of events gives him a strong chance of making the custody arrangement permanent. Although he still faces a court process, the children are safe in his care. Many believe Olivia might face significant jail time if her critically injured friend doesn't survive. Liam plans to pursue child support and compensation for Olivia's actions, though he is not very optimistic about the latter. His primary goal is to be with his kids and provide them a good life, especially given Olivia's neglect. Noah has been an incredible support, finding Liam a rental apartment through a friend. Ivy realized I know little about Noah's personal and professional life and plan to change that. But let us get back on track. Olivia was driving when they crashed into the house, leading to injuries and search warrants for everyone in the vehicle. Hannah is still registered at my address, and I decided on Sunday to sell the house and move away as quickly as possible. I am worried about repeating such incidents. Her parents called me last Sunday, telling me their house had been searched too. They had visited Hannah in jail on Saturday and no longer trust anything she says. To cut a long story short, they came over to talk on Sunday. It turns out Hannah had been deceiving them about everything. She told them she was staying with me to work things out while she was out partying and cheating on me. Her parents thought her infidelity was a one-time mistake based on what she had told them. Desperation led Hannah to call me from jail, begging for $155,000 in bail money. Her parents had already turned her down. After consulting with my lawyer, we devised an agreement that would deduct the bail amount from the final settlement, with Hannah's mother managing the remaining funds. This was to ensure Hannah couldn't miss the court hearing, so she had no choice but to sign the agreement. She was released on Monday afternoon. Her parents informed me that Hannah had violated their conditions for staying with them, which included stopping her medication, committing to rehab, being transparent about her whereabouts, and cutting ties with negative influences. She left their house on Tuesday to stay with new acquaintances and missed the court hearing. Consequently, I was awarded full custody. The settlement, based on our agreement, was finalized in just 30 minutes. Although the paperwork will take 4 to 6 months to process, the decision is essentially final. Now, I struggle with insomnia. People keep congratulating me as if I have won some great victory, but it doesn't feel that way. Despite knowing our relationship is over, my feelings for Hannah persist. She was my best friend and soulmate until recently. Even with all the hurt, my feelings linger, causing deep pain. There are no real winners here. I lose, Hannah loses, and our kids lose. It feels like being asked to celebrate after losing both legs. People congratulate me as if I've saved a part of a leg while losing both. I can to sleep, and when I do, I'm haunted by nightmares. Today I received a call from the hospital Hannah had been admitted. I am still her emergency contact, and she is on my health insurance. She was involved in an incident where she lost some teeth, broke her jaw, and needs to stay under observation for a few days. I brought her parents to the hospital, and it turns out some of her new friends had brutally attacked her. They believed Hannah had shared incriminating chat logs with a guy named Liam, exposing their actions. They thought she had given the logs to Liam, leading to the assault. Hannah still doesn't realize I can monitor her phone. I'll continue supporting her financially until the legal papers are finalized, but I want to believe it until I see it. For now, she has nothing. She asked if she could move back home, but I firmly refused. Her mother wanted to offer any financial help unless Hannah gets clean and stays clean for at least a year. They offered her a place to live under strict conditions, and if she doesn't accept, I don't see how she'll manage. For the first time, I saw a hint of regret in her eyes, but I doubt its sincerity. She barely made eye contact during our meeting. It hurt to see her like this, and I felt an urge to protect her, but she is an adult. Her behavior is dangerous, and I need to protect my kids. She didn't ask about the court hearing or her injured friend's condition. She seemed detached and irritated. I still can understand her actions. She has lost everything, torn our family apart and caused pain for so many people, all for fleeting thrills with superficial connections. I'll keep my distance until she has been clean for a significant period. I can't handle the chaos any longer. I am feeling depressed and extremely exhausted. I hardly sleep, and when I do, I am tormented by nightmares. On a positive note, the kids are doing better. My dad has been an incredible support, and I can imagine what I'd do without him. We spent the weekend at his cabin, skiing with the kids. It was a much-needed break. I have minimal contact with my ex. I did speak with one of her friends who was in critical condition. She is awake now, but in poor shape. The nurse told me no one had visited her during her stay. Her family even refused to visit when contacted. Concerned that the people who attacked my ex might target me and the kids, I asked the nurse if I could speak to her friend. She agreed, though it felt risky. I needed to know what had happened since Hannah got involved with them. The conversation began awkwardly. She asked if I wanted a favor for 120. I offered her 150 for information instead. She revealed that Hannah's new friends were heavily into drugs. Olivia, the ringleader, had convinced Hannah to try drugs and join their wild lifestyle. They funded their addiction through prostitution, all while pretending to uphold feminist ideals. The hypocrisy was staggering. The supposed ideals of Hannah's group were a mere facade. In truth, they sold themselves for drug money. Hannah fell into this lifestyle, selling herself to support her addiction. Hearing that the woman I loved had turned to such extremes was heart-wrenching. It explained why money had suddenly become her primary concern. According to her friend, Hannah was heavily addicted to meth. She had alienated everyone, stealing, lying, and cheating, leaving her completely isolated. Her friend didn't hesitate to express how desolate Hannah felt. She had no hope for the future and looked incredibly unhealthy. Listening to her was both heartbreaking and devastating. I cried for Hannah, recognizing the depths to which she had sunk. I am not excusing her actions. She made these choices and must face the consequences. Olivia, her so-called friend, now faces a multitude of charges, making death threats, resisting arrest, possessing drugs, engaging in prostitution, drug trafficking, child neglect, driving under the influence causing property damage, and vehicle theft. Denied bail as a flight risk, she will likely be entangled in legal issues for a long time. I am grateful to those who shared their experiences with addiction, warning me that Hannah might attempt suicide. Sadly, you were right. She tried to overdose. Her father and I had anticipated this, so we kept a close watch on her. Fortunately, she still doesn't know I can monitor her phone in real time. While at the cabin on Saturday, I received a message from her that sounded like a suicide note. She talked about her addiction, prostitution, disappointing everyone, and feeling like she had no other choice. I immediately called her father. Thanks to the location tracking, he found her unconscious on a park bench. She was rushed to the hospital in critical condition. I shudder to think what might have happened if he had arrived a bit later. Hannah is now on methadone, and her father has been appointed her legal guardian. She can no longer refuse treatment. He had her forcibly admitted to a rehab center, where she will undergo a sedated detox this week. His appointment is due not only to her overdose, but also because she abandoned her children, demonstrating irrational and suicidal behavior. That's the legal justification. Thankfully, I hadn't canceled her health insurance yet, so she will receive the necessary treatment. I feared that the men who assaulted Hannah might come after me and the kids. Liam had presented chat logs in court that they believed Hannah had given him. I spoke with Liam, and he decided to handle it since he benefited from the disclosure. Liam, a big, intimidating guy, went to the men's apartment, which was in terrible condition, and confronted them. He told them Olivia had given him the chat logs and that they had two choices: go to the police and confess everything about the assault or face immediate painful consequences. He made it clear he hoped they chose the first option. They didn't waste any time heading to the police, so I no longer worry about them. I've found a new apartment and will be moving soon. Once again, Noah came through for me. Despite everything, I feel deeply downcast. This situation weighs heavily on my mind. What keeps me going is the unwavering support of my friends and family and knowing I need to stay strong for the kids. My heart aches for Hannah despite everything. I don't regret marrying her. I still love her, but I realize we can never be together again. She's not the person she once was, and there's too much pain between us. Despite all the recent hardships, we had a good life before, and I wouldn't have my children without her. I wouldn't trade them for anything. I know the pain will linger for a long time. Oddly, the news of Hannah's addiction has made it easier for my kids to understand. It's simpler to explain that mommy is sick and it will take time for her to get better. She still loves them, and so on. Right now, I am feeling sad and tired. Liam is here with his kids, and we're going to watch a movie together. I am trying to create as many positive memories as possible. Liam is doing the same, and our kids seem to be doing much better now. I believe we'll be okay. Tragically, Hannah passed away from an overdose while in rehab. We are not sure how she accessed drugs, but it seems something went terribly wrong. Substance dependency is a real issue, and it is truly heartbreaking. Seek support from your family if needed, and focus on taking care of your children. The current situation is distressing, but it will get better. Remember that your children need you more than ever, and your in-laws are suffering even more than you. Best of luck and stay strong.